Yeah, very good afternoon to one and all. This is Dr. G. Prasad, and today I'm going to explain about a safe handling of chemicals and hazardous substances. While you are working in the company or the manufacturing unit or anywhere, wherever you're working, so you are dealing with the different chemicals. It may be liquid or it may be solid or it may be gaseous substance or sometimes it have a vapor. So depending upon the state of the substances, you can have a safe handling because you don't know the properties of the particular substance. The particular substance, it may be hazardous or it may be non-hazardous or it may be flammable or inflammable. You don't know the exact the chemical properties and the physical properties of a particular substance. At that time, at that particular time, you must have some training and you must have some basic knowledge regarding the substances, the chemicals. Then you have a at the safe zone. That meaning of you are at a particular at a safe zone. Yeah. So in today's topic regarding safe handling of chemicals and hazardous substances. Yeah. Hazardous chemicals, we have some basic properties like Occupational Safety and Health Act, OSHA. From previous slides, we have a different knowledge about OSHA, Occupational Safety and Health Act. Term that denotes any chemical that would be a risk to employee if exposed in the workplace. A hazardous material is anything that is flammable, corrosive, reactive, an oxidizer, toxic, carcinogenic, or maybe some have some etc. Or break down to a give species with any of the above categories. How can you say that the particular chemical is to be flammable or is to be corrosive, is to be reactive, needs to be an oxidizer. Then we have some basic knowledge. Like if you see some example, acetone. Acetone is a flammable liquid. In HCl, it's a corrosive. Sodium cyanide is a toxicity, like different based on the OSHA, Occupational Safety and Health Hazard Act. We have a classifications. Yeah. Categories of hazardous chemicals. Yeah, we have a different categories. Based on the category we say that so this is a hazardous material and this is a non-hazardous material and this is flammable, this is dangerous material, it's a dangerous liquid thing, like you have to subdivide. Okay, categories of hazardous chemicals. What is the categories? It's a corrosive, it's a flammable, it's a toxic, reactive, biological, carcinogen, and radioactive. Based on the categories, you can say that this is the particular thing. Yeah. And this is a very important thing from your school standard onwards. You are going to learn about the physical states of hazardous material. Whenever you go, wherever you go, at any place, basically every material is available in the either liquid, solid, gas, vapor. Mostly in the industry, we have a liquid materials, all the materials available only in the liquid state. Okay. And what is the difference between liquid, solid, gas, and vapor? What is the difference between liquid, solid, gas, and vapor? In the liquid, the molecules are free to move and there is no large there is a large gap between one molecule to another molecule, that say that liquid. Whereas in the solid, the molecules are very close to each other, they are attached to one molecule to another molecule, and there is a resid in the molecular position, that is called gas, so solid. Whereas in the gas, when compared to the liquid, in the liquid you can measure the gap between The distance between one molecule to another molecule, like you have some distance. Whereas in the gas, it occupies the total volume, and there is no exactly, you can't say the difference between one molecule to another molecule. That is called gas. And vapor is almost in the state of a, like exhausted, like if you have a liquid, if you can heat the liquid, and you can have a vapor. So that is called vapor. Yeah. How to handle chemicals properly? Use cautions, always follow the procedures, read all the labels, keep yourself, the work area clean, and plan ahead. Always, while you are doing the work on a particular industry, particular thing, how you can handle the chemicals. Use cautions. You have to give the particular precautions, like you have to do like that, you have to handle like that, you have to store like that. You have to give the cautions. At that time, there is a safe handling. Always follow the procedures, because some some chemicals, uh, if react with oxygen, some chemicals react with water. Based on that OSHA Act, we have to follow the procedure. Read all the labels, because on the label we have some particular things. So these particularly on particular one, these particularly on they will give some labels. So read the labels. Keep yourself and the work area clean. Always, whatever the areas are there, you have to clean, because due to the improper dirty and improper one, there is a causes of flammability. And plan ahead. Always plan before what's happening after some time. You have to plan. Yeah. Roots of exposure. Roots of exposure is nothing but when you are working on the company, when you are working in the production, always you have a bad smell. Like, it's not a bad smell, it's a like one type of odorness. It comes from the chemicals, because every chemical has a different smells, a different odor. If you have a 10 chemicals, 10 have a different smells that combine into one particular odor. That odor you can't smell, or you can't even you can't bear that smell. So but at that time, how the causes of chemicals are exposed to our body. So there are four types. Number one, inhalation. Inhalation nothing but by breathing. When your inhalation of by our nose, whatever the chemicals, that chemicals will go into our body directly to the lungs. And ingestion nothing but by taking the directly by doing the mouth. Absorption is what by the skin. Sometimes you can if you whatever the chemicals that is spill on our body skin, like that. Sometimes injection due to the by nervous system, like that. These the roots of exposure. So this is the important thing. Yeah. Symptoms of possible overexposure. Okay. If there is a direct contact between the chemicals and the body, what will happen? Suppose if it hides the discomfort, our eyes will always give some water, it's irritate, like that you will get. That is eye discomfort. Next, breathing difficulty. Okay. ఇఫ్ వాట్ ఇస్ ద సిమ్టమ్స్ అంటే మనకి ఒకవేళ కనుక కెమికల్స్ ఎక్కువ కనుక పీలిస్తే మనకి లోపలికి వెళ్తే కనుక సిమ్టమ్స్ ఎలా ఉంటాయి? ఐ డిస్కంఫర్ట్, బ్రీతింగ్ డిఫికల్టీ వైల్ యూఆర్ taking of air oxygen into the body, inhalation and exhalation, that is somewhat difficult. Dizziness nothing but like you have a blurry eyes, a headache, you can have a or the mind, so that react with inside the body, and you have a headache and nausea and vomiting and skin irritation. So these are symptoms of possible overexposure. If you are exposed to the chemicals over a long period of time, so these are the symptoms. Like you can have a different types of problems with from top to bottom of our body. Yeah. Incompatible chemicals are flammable and oxidizers, flammable and any ignition sources, acids and cyanides, strong acids and strong alkalines, concentrated acids and water, organic solvents and corrosives, corrosion and other reactive materials. So these are the chemicals. If you are exposed to these flammable and oxidizers, ignition sources, acids and cyanide, so very incompatible to the human body. Yeah. Agencies that regulate hazardous chemicals. There is some regulatory bodies, regulatory nominee bodies that can uh, prevent to the hazardous things, accidents, prevent to of particular thing. Like what? The first one, OSHA, Occupational Safety and Health Administration. NFPA, National Fire Protection Association. EPA, Environmental Protection Agency. DOT dot Department of Transportations. So these four bodies, it can regulate the hazardous things, it can regulate the fire safety protections, it can regulate the incidents of a particular thing happening in the particular area of any company or any factory, like any manufacturing unit. Okay. OSH. So at least you can remember the abbreviations of a particular thing, because when you are any going to write any competitive exam section or any government exams or any, at least you are working in any company, at least you must know that these particular abbreviations: Occupational Safety and Health Administration, National Fire Protection Association, Environmental Protection Agency, Department of Transportation. Yeah. Chemical spills. What should you do if the chemical spill over a particular working area? It spill on maybe on body, like what you have to do, either it is a floor or the body or somewhat it may be. So for any spill, alert others and close of the area. If there, suppose if you see the diagram at the two, you have two diagram. At the two diagram, the whatever the chemicals that spill on a floor, okay, some based on the properties of a chemical, some properties maybe get vapor, or sometimes maybe it's disappear after some time, and some chemicals still they have a their properties like that, like a liquid, they will not go any move like that. So that times you have to do, always you have to close the area, and others don't allow inside the particular thing, inside the particular room, and use chairs, stools to close of a part of a corridor, always like a barricator, like a barrier. Then you have to put the chair or anything, whatever the equipment you have that in our hand, you use that spontaneously, close that area, don't go, don't move like particular area you have. Then at least you have to put a tag at the particular area. If necessary, you can use the fire alarm to clear the building. Maybe sometimes that particular liquid, what a property of a getting fire, property of a particular thing maybe. So that time you have to give a fire alarm to the clear the building. So then particularly you are doing the of safety precautions at possible things. Yeah. Handling flammable chemicals. How you are handle the flammable liquids? Flammable nothing but what? Fire. It catches the fire. That is called flammable chemicals. Keep containers closed when not in use. Okay. If the chemical are in the container nothing but a cylindrical shell. If the in the container, if there is a chemical, always you have to close. When you have to close, it's not used. When it's the condition, it's not going for to use. So that time you have to close the container. Keep away from the ignition sources, because always the ignition source is nothing but the inside the company, small motor vehicle or petrol vehicles, they will go around in and around the factory. Sometimes in the summer, due to the high temperature, it may cause sometimes ignition sources. It is also one type of ignition sources, and that sometimes we have a different reactors, pumps. In that one, if you switch on the pump, it's in the inside the rotating parts, it's getting vibrations, it's getting heat. Maybe that is also one source of ignition sources. Avoid contact with incompatible materials, because some chemicals we are giving almost the safety conditions. It's not a that time also to avoid the contact with the incompatible chemicals. Only transfer to approved containers. So we have a different containers, because based on the containers, almost you have to give the approved containers. Bond all receiving containers, clean up spills and dispose of waste properties. Like if there any chemicals fall on the floor, or leakaging, or the like anything happen, always you have to take care about the particular all those things. Yeah. Proper storage of flammable chemicals. Ensure that storage area meet regularity requirements, because storage area is nothing but whatever the chemicals, whatever the liquid chemicals that you have to put in the particular store, that may be storeroom, or maybe godown, or maybe somewhat area. So that is particularly for a storage of a flammable liquids. Because if you are not taking care about proper care about the storage of the chemicals at that particular time, so it's maybe you can't imagine the damage to the particular property, damage to the particular damage to the particular area, or damage to the particular thing. So you can't imagine, you can't expect the loss to the particular thing. So you have to take care about that particular thing. And second one, replace all the bung gaps with the drum vents after receiving containers. Because at the particular time, we have to put vent nothing but what, like see, in the kitchen, whatever the flames will coming, whatever the flumes it coming, whatever the smoke is coming, that that going to from the vent, like that. In the container also, you have to put a vent. Because if you see, thumbs up 1 liter water bottle, or even a thumbs up bottle, whatever the liquid is there, that is not 100% filled in the bottle. There is a small 0.1% or 2% of bottle gap will be clear. Because at that particular point, there is due to the liquid properties, there is a chance of getting like gases, like somewhat a little bit disturbance to the liquid. So you have to give us some area like that in the industry. So you have to give a vent. So through that vent, whatever the liquid inside the gases, anything is formed, that's it, when it goes to the outside the atmosphere. Yeah. Ground all drums properly. Because drums sometimes it may be a discomfort, or it is maybe disadjustment. So you have to see, take care about that. Because if it's not completely 100% not on the ground of a particular container, what happen, some weight towards the vertical system, as towards the some inclined nature. So because due to the weight, it may be getting a chance of the damage to the property. Store the quantities in approved storage rooms and cabinets. Store the quantities in approved storage, and for the rooms, particular cabins. Store only in a small quantities. Because if you are storing a huge amount of liquid in the particular thing, if there anything happen, so whatever the you have a liquid, so that is very almost you are gone through outside the atmosphere. So because you have to almost try to store a large small amount of quantities in the particular area. Okay. General safety tips: never eat, drink, smoke while using hazardous chemicals. Very important thing. Because the hazardous chemicals not only in the storage of a particular container, some chemicals, it's very dangerous if you are inhale into the body for a long time, because whatever the chemical smell that goes into our, like, see, if you are like any if you are injecting what do you call that, yeah, if you are taking any medicine into our body, due to sometimes it's a reactive nature, you will get, instead of that, headache, or like dizziness, like you can get some anti side effects. So because like that, never eat, drink, or smoke while you are using hazardous chemicals. Use personal protective equipment is required. Make sure all the chemicals containers are properly labeled. Always wash up after using chemicals. So these is very very general tips, because never eat, never drink, and never smoke. And use personal protective equipment. Personal protective equipment, nothing but what? You can use mask, like gloves, gown, apron, shoes, specs, like mask, everything what you, that is called personal protection equipment. Forever personal, forever protective nature, you have to take care personal protection equipment. Make sure all chemicals containers are properly labeled, because so you can put these chemical property, this is a methylene, this is methanol, and this is ethanol, and this is acetaldehyde, and this is benzene. So you have to give a proper names to the particular liquid, and you have to put a tag on the particular thing. Then because if you see, by physically you are seeing the liquids, maybe two or three chemicals are same in color. Okay, how do you find out the, by seeing without color, all the chemicals are benzene, all the chemicals are toluene, like that you can't say that. You have to put a label, you have to put a tag, you have to put a name, and the particular name almost give a what boiling point of particular thing, flash point of a particular thing, property of a particular thing, particular liquid, and like if you whatever the possible things for the safety, and you have to give a label. Make sure all the chemicals containers are properly labeled. Always wash up after using chemicals. If you are using chemicals, maybe sometimes if it is spill off on the spill on the ground, so you have to better to clean. Then after that cleaning, due to the atmospheric nature, so it's vaporized. Then after some time again, it's good better to use the particular place for any chemical process, like anything. Yeah, never smell or taste a chemical to identify it. That is very dangerous, because when you are inhale the liquid inside the our body, what due to the inhalation of the chemicals, anything happened, maybe some body in the particular damage to the particular anything to the body. Know all emergency procedures and equipments who are working on the particularly on the chemicals, or maybe employee or maybe worker. So better to give a emergency procedure in the emergency situation, what you have to do. So there is some particular procedure are there. So based on the procedure, you have to give a proper training to the supervisor or the worker or the labor. Always read labels. Always read labels. MSDS priority use. Store all hazardous chemicals properly. Always use hazardous chemicals as intended. Yeah. Primary container labels. Identify of the hazardous chemicals. Appropriate hazardous warnings. Name and address of the manufacturing or importer. Target organ effects. Okay. Primary container. So this is a very important thing. For the first thing, identify the hazardous chemicals. First, you have to identify which one is hazardous, which one is not hazardous, and which one is a dangerous thing, and which one is not dangerous. We have to identify the second one. Appropriate hazard warnings. You have to give the proper hazard warnings for the particular thing. Name and address of the manufacturer. From where you can get the chemicals. From where you can get the import these particular things. And target organ effects. If you are taking about particular thing inside our body, then we have to give a so these chemical is affect to the our body, maybe lung, or maybe nose, or maybe liver, or maybe heart. Like you have to give a proper target effect. Yeah. Secondary container labels. See, these are primary and this one secondary. Identify of the hazardous chemicals. hazard warning information. Like if you see the figure, so this is combustible. How you can combustible? Spontaneously combustible. Spontaneously nothing but what? Immediately. అప్పటికప్పుడు కంబస్టిబుల్ అయ్యేది అనమాట. సో దానికి అదే అయిపోదు, బట్ బేస్డ్ ఆన్ ద సిచ్యువేషన్స్, బేస్డ్ ఆన్ వాట్ యూఆర్ డూయింగ్, వాట్ యూఆర్ ఫాలోయింగ్ ద ప్రొసీజర్స్, వాట్ యూఆర్ డూయింగ్ ద process on the particular thing, due to our mistakes only, so it can happen to the uh, flammable or combustible. Yeah. Handling chemical emergencies. No emergency phone numbers, because at that time, how we are doing the process to the particular thing, maybe a safety officer, or maybe ambulance, or maybe police, or maybe hospital, or whatever it may be. So, know the emergency phone number. Know how to control the spill, because sometimes you can leakage of the problem, and you have to, at least you must know, you must be trained for the proper control of the spill. No proper equipment shutdown procedure, because where you can use the chemicals, in the equipment you can use the chemicals. So while you are using the equipment, while you are using the machinery, so you must know the how to shut down the procedure. So because sometimes you can, now it's not like a switch on switch off system, because we have a different procedures, different machinery parts. There is a linkage between one machinery to another machinery. So you have to, at least you must know the proper procedure for the shutdown of the machinery equipment. No proper evacuation routes and assembly areas. So evacuation nothing but vacating the area. Already you are covered in the previous class. Know the proper evacuation, how you are relieving from the particular area, how you are vacating the from the particular, then where you have to go. So that route also you must know, because of that assembly areas. Okay. Sorry, you have only 2 minutes of time.